Hello and welcome. Today we've got Ashleighs James and we are going to be discussing how humanity is shifting to a new sound and vibration. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channels and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview, unless, of course, myself and Ashleigh can choose our words wisely due to the insane censorship that's happening right now. Ashleigh, thank you for joining me. How are you and what have you been up to?
Well, thank you for having me, Nicholas. Oh, I've been wonderful. I really have. I've been doing a lot of resting and healing since the last time that we spoke. When I was in the hospital.
Excellent. So talk to me about, since our last interview, more about what's been going on since then and your journey.
Okay. So since we last spoke, I got my freedom from the institution. And day by day, this peace started to come to me, which was new. And then I was in Nottingham and I kept having all these downloads of information about what was going on currently. And how they showed it to me was Earth and this false energetic structure. It's like a dome-like that was over the earth, and how the divine forces were working to infiltrate it, and how I was helping them be a channel for that. And there was this hole that needed to be repaired. And it was like I was at 99% clear of infiltration. It was just like this 1%, and it was here. So I was going into meditation and I set up energetically, visualized this structure around the earth. And it was really quite incredible. And after that, I stopped having interference. I did have a night when Russia invaded Ukraine, and I was lay on my bed and I fell asleep fully clothed, and I woke up and I was sweating, and I feel like I'd been somewhere but I couldn't remember anything, and my heart was racing. And shortly after, the lights started to flicker, even though they weren't on at the switch at the wall. And then I had this message come through telepathically, which was, the children are safe, it's all okay. And I just cried and I cried and I cried. And it was so wonderful. And since then, every day has just been getting brighter in ways that it's hard for me to put into words, because it's so astonishing.
Right. So are you saying that, the suffering of children has stopped, or is it still going on a little bit? What do you get from that?
Well, a few months ago, I was told that Ukraine was a very sacred space, and they were using the energy there to hold us down frequency-wise. It helped with this structure, this dome. And what was going on underneath was underground experimentation on children and on humans, and creating bioweapons. So for humans to be like bioweapons, like training assassins and abusing and traumatizing children. And I believe that it was well and truly infiltrated. Yeah, so there are still things happening on Earth. There are still things going on underground and above Earth.
Mm-hmm. So Go on.
But I feel like it's being taken care of, like it's a process, and every step of the way, the more information that comes out, the more people can step in, the more people that step into their mission, we're just going to light this whole thing up.
Mm-hmm. So what other things do you think need to happen after the Ukraine and the Russian situation has, died down, if you like?
I feel like the most important thing is for people, myself especially, I am focusing on my own internal journey and how that shapes and reflects my external world. And when I'm having darkness internally rise, lower emotions, negative thought forms, how am I dealing with that? How am I shifting that? When I'm having a negative person enter my life, how am I dealing with that? How am I setting boundaries? And how am I evolving out of old patterns which no longer serve me so that I can be more conscious?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you're saying that every day the earth is getting lighter and lighter. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I can feel it.
Tell us more about that.
So when there's big shifts on earth, I'm very sensitive to the energy. And as my life force has awakened, my Kundalini channels are open, this energy can enter me. And it's really quite a wonderful experience. And on Saturday, it was magnified about 20 times as I would normally experience. So usually when I'm having these energy downloads and I'm transmuting all this energy and embodying it, I can have fear rise up, visions. I can cry, a lot of grief. This time was very different because there was none of that. It was completely like being a pure channel for this light to enter. Mm-hmm. And so I was laying in bed, I was doing self-healing. So this self-healing for me is when I use sound healing, energy healing, movement. I go into trance and I use breath work. Usually lay down, but not always, especially if I'm going into movement. But this time I was laid down, my hands were over my heart and I may have been singing. So as the energy comes up, I can feel the subtle shifts and I'm able to release blockages. And there was a lot. It felt like the whole of my back was burning and it was heavy. And there was this density that was dropping off and dropping down into the earth. And it took a while for it to shift. But when it did, that's when I had the vision of this beautiful rose and it was covered in gold. And then around it formed this crystalline structure. And this was a vision that I was seeing in my mind's eye. And I sat up involuntary in bed like that. And then I shot back down. And as I did, all this energy entered my head and it was like bursts. I could see stars and fractals of light. And I just lay there. And then the energy started to move. And it was like, and I had to breathe. And it was going on for quite a while. I'd say about 4 hours in total. And I was just like wriggling about on the bed, trying to catch my breath. So it's like the divine was making love to my soul in the most beautiful and pure way. And there was one point where I was like, oh, please have mercy, because it was relentless. And the message that I received back was, learn to ride the dragon. I was like, okay. And so then I got into it more with my breathing.
And afterwards, yeah, please.
Afterwards, I just lay and I relaxed, and it was so quiet. And I kept going into this state of complete darkness, complete blackness, emptiness, void, and just existing there in this silence, which I've never experienced quite like that before. And it was like I had seen and understood so much, but not words. It was a feeling, it was a sensation, it was an energy.
Were there any visions?
There was a lot of communication that was coming through, a lot of understanding, but most of it was all energetic, and I had all on focusing on how it was moving through me, the energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it was quite the ride.
Would you say it was telepathic?
Yes.
So if you had to, in a nutshell, tell us what's the whole message to you, when you combine everything together as a conclusion, what do you think the whole, that experience was trying to give you in terms of understanding?
I feel like it's awoken me to a new presence within myself, within my being, a deeper level of authenticity and being. I feel completely changed in ways that are hard to describe. I feel quite comfortable in myself. So it's a Kundalini awakening. So the life force at the bottom of the spine rises and opens the third eye in the crown, and the energy comes through and activates the DNA.
And is this something that's going to happen to all of us?
Those who want it, who it's their path.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I believe that this is something we all have capabilities for. And it's one of the aspects that have been controlled because of how powerful we are as humans and as energy manifestors, quantum creators.
And how about those people who want it, but they want it subconsciously?
Then that may happen to them spontaneously, like it did with me.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I wasn't looking into spirituality at all when it happened. I was in the gym 6 days a week. But what I was doing is I was working on myself. So I was identifying areas in my life that I wasn't happy with and patterns that were showing up. And I was continually growing and pushing myself to grow. So I think that had a massive part to it.
Interesting. Okay. And, when we have more of the takedown of this evil, do you think that it increases the chances of people experiencing what you've experienced?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I feel like if someone was to intentionally step onto this path or a similar path, and they wanted to open up to the light and to evolve, then I believe that that it's easier for them to do so now, especially now. I mean, it's people signing up to the news and getting bogged down with information that isn't relevant to their daily lives, and it's just a massive interference. So on that side, yes, when that goes, I think that people will, potentially be drawn to a more conscious lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to hope.
Absolutely. So what can you tell us about, the Zims and the humanitarian projects and all of that? Do you know anything about that?
No, enlighten me.
All right. So you're probably not aware. Apparently, the Zim notes, which are printed by government, which are government bonds, will be released as for humanitarian projects. They will be released as bonds. So have you heard of that before?
No, I haven't.
Okay. And how about, we'll move on to that one. How about, like, what do you know about chakra energy stones and stuff like that?
Well, they can help in with self-healing. So usually, like, say if you used to go into a crystal shop, my advice would be to not study the names, not to look up on your phone what you require, but to go in there and to allow your intuition and your senses to pick the stones for you. You could perhaps go in with an intention of like a healing intention, something that you want to clear, and then go, right, that one. And then...
Yeah, please. And then?
And then you can use them on your body, anywhere on your body, to intensify, amplify healing frequencies.
And how, what contains in these stones that actually make a difference? Is it the material of these stones? And if so, what type of material are they?
They're different minerals.
Right.
So different earth minerals, and they're of different vibration.
Interesting. And obviously we are made out of water. So we are affected by vibration when we say we with a gut feeling and we feel vibrations, I see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Ashleigh James, it's been great. Thank you so much for joining me today. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the viewers before we finish?
No, I think that's it. Yeah. And actually, there's just a breathing technique, which is wonderful if things are getting on top of you, or if there's sort of like negativity in the head or emotions. Just taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, and then exhaling out a sound like a sigh.
Okay. I'll try that later.
Okay.
All right. Well, Ashleigh, it's been great. Thank you so much. And we'll speak again very soon. Okay. You take care.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nicholas. I love you all. Bye.